The end outcome was for us to really develop some key insights in what would a good initiative look like.
When you see these patterns, then you can then disrupt the pattern and hopefully, with what we've done together, change it and bring about better opportunities.
We've been investing 150k for 3 years straight with black-owned businesses and getting their brands on the high street.
As an industry, there's like a chronic lack of diversity in the industry, and actually we're doing all we can to really try and change that from the sort of bottom up, really.
Hello and welcome to the Winners' Words podcast, where we unearth what it takes to succeed at the Market Research Awards from the winners themselves. I'm your host, Lewis Reeves, CEO and founder at Walr, and today our guests are the winners of the 2023 MRS Award for the Liz Nelson Grand Prix Award, and they are Channel 4 and Clear Channel in partnership with Backlight and The Good Side. Huge welcome to you guys today. To start us off, can we go around the room, introduce yourself, tell us your role and what your business does?
Right, hello. I'm Caroline Forbes. I work for Clear Channel UK. We are an outdoor media business, and I am head of sales. I work in the commercial team for outdoor agencies.
I'm Katja Desertage. I'm a senior research exec on the advertising research and development team at Channel 4, and we are a British TV broadcaster.
Hi, I'm Saul Parker. I am the founder of The Good Side. We are an insight and strategy studio helping brands understand culture.
And my name's Lydia Amoir, founder of Backlight. We're a cultural change agency. What we do is insights, research into the multi-ethnic audience consumer spending power.
Fantastic. Great to have you guys here today. And I think one of the themes of this podcast has been really about impact that market research can have both in the boardroom but also in our societies and communities. And I think this project, as we're going to learn today, really speaks for itself and having some of the greatest impact I've seen in my market research career. So I really want to bring that to life and understand, where was this conceived upon? Where was the idea coming from? So maybe you guys could kick us off. Caroline, maybe you can start us off with where this all came from.
I feel like we were a very lucky partner in that the idea was brought to us by Channel 4 and Lydia at Backlight, and I think conceived really with you guys having some initial conversations around Lydia's Black Pound report, the kind of the work that you were doing there, but also what we were doing from a Clear Channel perspective with Compass, which is our Black-owned business initiative. When these guys brought this initial idea to us, it was about, right, this is amazing because now our initiative will be fueled by data, and data means longevity, it means integrity, it means authenticity, and it means that, the business kind of will really get behind keeping this a project alive.
This project came out of a space where Channel 4 has a very strong legacy in diversity and inclusion, and there's people in the business that have been championing it for many years. So, for example, Maria St. Louis, who we were just talking about, she'd been championing Channel 4 creating something for Black-owned businesses for a really long time. And so we had, at the point where we were conceiving the project, Lydia and I were speaking and the Insight team was speaking, and we were saying, we were working on the Black Pound report with Lydia, and we were saying, it's really important that we really understand the experiences of Black-owned businesses if we're going to create something. And that's kind of where the research was born from. It was like really getting to terms with what are the lived experiences, what does the journey look like, where are the challenges, and then where can we come in and help. And that's where as well Clear Channel became like a perfect partner, because they're also already doing work in this space. They have their own initiative, and we knew the insight would be useful for their initiative in developing that as well as our own. I don't know, Lydia, if you want to add anything to that.
It's just good when I really listen to everybody telling their story because, well, Caroline, you've always supported me with the Black Pound report from the initial stages, from the first piece of research. The research is into the spending power of Black, Asian and multi-ethnic audiences, which is often overlooked, and it's such a lucrative audience. Then I had the opportunity with Channel 4 who invested in the Black Pound report, the second one, excuse me, which went to about 3,500 people we surveyed. And then our relationship built from there. And obviously from that point, you have lots more conversations. I always will share my insight as a Black-owned business some of the challenges that we face, but some of the great innovative ideas that we bring to the business world. And when you partner with good people, that's when you can create better insights, highlight a particular area that needs highlighting and discussing. So who better than Clear Channel and Channel 4, and obviously the good side as well, because you do research as well. We do similar things, but you've got your particular area that you focus on, and you become stronger together.
Yeah.
You know.
It's probably worth adding as well.
Yes.
We when we had the idea for this research, we briefed it out to a lot of different research agencies, and we got some incredible responses back. But by far the best was from the good side, and they're real cultural insight experts. And so their proposal just incorporated all elements of what we wanted to discover, and the project ended up actually growing but beyond what we thought it was originally going to be, because there were so many great ideas coming out of the good side and Sol's team.
Yeah. It seems like an incredible meeting of minds, and you can feel the energy in the room of you guys, what you wanted to achieve. So for those that perhaps don't know the project that you guys run, maybe give us a bit of background and maybe a good time to bring you in, Sol, around what the initial objectives were, what you were looking to achieve, and then from a methodological perspective, how you went and delivered that.
Yeah, so the objectives really were kind of to understand what the lived experiences was of Black-owned businesses and how that differs from white-owned businesses. So what does the entrepreneurial journey look like? Where does it start? How early does it start? Where does that spirit come from? What are the challenges that they face? Which are the most significant, and where are the areas that the media industry as the whole can have a bit more of a role to play in supporting and kind of eliminating or helping to reduce some of those challenges. And then also, like, the end outcome was for us to really develop some key insights in what would a good initiative look like. Yes. When we're going out and we're creating our own initiatives and developing our own initiatives, what should they look like? What do Black-owned businesses need? What are they looking for? So those were the kind of three primary objectives of the research.
Fantastic. And how do we go about doing the research?
Yeah, thanks. I mean, I think it's worth saying that, that, as you can probably tell, the whole process has been super collaborative. We've all been working together, talking together the whole way through, and it was really designed as, I guess, a radical collaboration in a way, in that, we were really there to be the conduits to really design the process and to facilitate it, but really, to kind of get out of the way and make sure that the kind of the community and the voices were kind of centered. And as Katya said, it was very much about looking at contrast. So we started off with some scoping and some landscaping research to really identify spokespeople within the Black-owned business community who would be able to help us understand the experience and sort of shape the whole learning journey, really. And then we did some one-to-one interviews with some of those people and some stakeholders from the different organisations to really understand the landscape, really understand what the narratives were around the Black-owned business community and its needs and its priorities, I suppose. And then the next piece was really to go into some quant research, and we specifically compared Black-owned business perspectives with white-owned business perspectives to really kind of draw that contrast quite starkly by looking at two very specific audiences so that we could see the differences from the outset. And I think we immediately started seeing some really stark sort of comparisons in terms of experience, in terms of perspectives, in terms of relationships with consumers and audiences that really started to help us understand, not only why this was such an interesting issue, but really kind of where there was a sharp sort of point of focus.
Big things that we took out of some of the research was the level of investment, right? So, I mean, that was really stark, and I think it was something like 0.2% of investment goes to Black-owned businesses. I think I've got that wrong, actually. It's 0.24%. And so that was really stark. And then from there, it was really easy to start seeing some of the challenges that Black-owned businesses face within the UK business space and the support that they needed.
And any other sort of key insights that really struck you, particularly in those comparisons?
I think for me, one of the most interesting things was to see how much more aspiration and desire there was within the Black community to be entrepreneurial. So actually, many more people actually wanting to run their own businesses and being less interested in working, within a more corporate structure. But then, as you say, not having the investment opportunities to sort of match that aspiration. And then there were some interesting statistics coming out of the back end when we did some audience research looking at Gen BIPOC population versus a BAME population of consumers to understand attitudes towards black-owned businesses and to see how consumer attitudes also varied in terms of sort of awareness and in terms of trust and various other kind of metrics. So it was interesting to see how just what a disparate experience it was.
Yeah, it certainly sounds like you mentioned earlier, Lydia, about untapped potential, that you're discovering a huge community that is thriving to be great entrepreneurs, but perhaps are not being given the tools to do so.
Yeah, one of the things that I found pretty amazing, obviously because it's my own lived experience, but to hear other black-owned businesses speak about where the entrepreneurial journey begins. Some of them began as early as 14 years old, in school, whether it was doing hair care, whether it was, wherever they had an idea of how can they generate income, not only for themselves, for the family. And it's also seeing a problem, or shall we say an obstacle, and creating a solution, and also wanting to serve the community, and also wanting to pay it forward, and also wanting to create legacy. You'll find that most black-owned businesses are all about how can we create legacy, how can we keep this long-term, how can we look at, say, we've got these challenges, but what we see maybe with white-owned businesses, the legacy continues, doesn't it? It continues and continues and continues. We must do the same. But at the same time, as she pointed out, 0.4% of investment goes to black founders, which is no way near enough. So this work that we did collaboratively highlights the incredible businesses. We had some incredible businesses, didn't we, that we interviewed. I think we had Kanye King from the MOBO Awards speak about her journey, talk about having to remortgage her property time after time to keep the MOBO Awards alive. I had to do similar things to myself with the first Black Pound report. So you begin to see patterns all the way through. And when you see these patterns, then you can then disrupt the pattern and hopefully, with what we've done together, change it and bring about better opportunities. Because when businesses can see, hold a minute, a white consumer will happily invest in a black-owned business. It shouldn't be about ethnicity, to tell you the truth, but we have to bring it to this point to highlight the disparities, but also the opportunity as well. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. I was just going to add as well, like as part of the research and that consumer side of things, what was really nice to see is that massive demand. There's a huge demand for these businesses, and so they play a massive, vital role in our economy. And so that, I think, was what was a really a highlight takeout, as well as how that entrepreneurial journey is so strong, but also that there's that huge demand. And I was also going to add in the methodology, what I really loved about this research is once we had kind of done our expert interviews, done our surveys, we then did this amazing what was called a co-creation salon. Yeah, I'll let you talk about it. Oh, it was so beautiful. So we basically curated all of the insight into this gallery type viewing, and invited some of the experts that we'd already spoken to as part of the research and some new experts and business owners and entrepreneurs to look at all of the insight and discuss them and do these kind of mini focus groups amongst us and exercises. And it was a really good opportunity to expand on what we thought we knew from the research, challenge some of what we knew, and then really create tangible initiative ideas together. So it wasn't we just took all the insight, digested it, created some outputs. We had an idea of those outputs, and then we challenged ourselves and we put that in a room and we said, what do you think about this? Is this the right direction that we're going in? And I just thought that was I want to do that in every project I work on now.
And I think clearly from an impact perspective, just shining a light on this begins to start opening people's eyes to the opportunity, the untapped potential that we spoke about earlier. But where do you guys see this going? What, if you think about legacy for a minute, what impact do you really want this to have, and how far do you think is possible for this to go?
It's probably a nice time for us to kind of talk about the role of media, because that was a massive part of the research, and we were shining a light on the media industry with this research and kind of the impact that they could have, kind of knowing the results of what came out of the study. And I think one of the big stats that came out was 40% of the black entrepreneurs said would be great for them to partner with media agencies, for them to get their brands out there, to drive some awareness about what they do. And I think for Clear Channel as an outdoor media business, getting brands on the high street and creating awareness is what we do. And Clear Channel Compass was the initiative that this research has really fueled. in terms of getting brands on the street. So, you know, we've been investing 150k for 3 years straight with Black-owned businesses and getting their brands on the high street. And you know, I think it's been brilliant to see the initiative that Channel 4 have launched off the back of the research, which kind of just works hand in hand with what we've been doing too.
Yeah. No, yeah, this research has played a really integral role in creating that initiative that I was talking about earlier that Maria had been talking for a long time, and it's called Black in Business, and it's an incredible initiative. It awards, or it basically has 5 beneficiaries that receive £100,000 worth of TV airtime each, and have their campaigns created for them as well, and their social assets and everything. And as well as that, because of the way that the research fell out, is we realised there's obviously a massive challenge around marketing and advertising, but there's also challenges that we should be targeting as well. So that initiative is in partnership with Lloyds Bank. And so they've worked with us to create masterclasses around financial knowledge, networks, how to create a media marketing strategy, things like that. Real like in-depth masterclasses with all of the businesses that apply to the initiative, to help amplify and grow their businesses in a sustainable way. So that's been incredible to see that, you know, seeing those insights going from literally from paper and conversations to real life scenarios and outcomes. And now we've seen these campaigns on outside, and we're seeing these campaigns on TV, and it's just, yeah, it's an amazing opportunity, and I'm super privileged and lucky to have been part of that journey as well.
Yeah, brilliant. And I think what's so cool here is clearly incredible energy and passion behind a topic mixed with the catalyst of market research, and we can begin to see here amazing impact. Talk about how this is going to live on. Is there a plan around how we stay on top of the performance of this to see we're moving in the right direction?
Yeah, so for Black in Business, what we're doing at the moment is we're doing a campaign measurement. So we're analysing the effectiveness and the impact that these campaigns are going to be having for the businesses that have become beneficiaries of Black in Business. And also just kind of the legacy and the perceptions of the initiative itself, in case we want to develop it in the future or change it in any way. So it's really important for us that we continue that thread of insight throughout. We don't just want to create something and not understand what it's really doing. So we're currently in the midst of measuring those TV campaigns at the moment.
Fabulous.
And what we did at Backlight, we had the opportunity, because we are really in the thick of the audiences that we communicate on behalf of. For example, I can sit in some of the rooms where some of those Black-owned businesses don't have the opportunity. I can sit down with Caroline, I can sit down with Katja, I can sit down with yourself, and because they contact me on it's a daily basis that I will communicate with Black-owned businesses, multi-ethnic businesses as well. So I really want to encourage, and obviously you're doing this through Compass, you're doing this through Black in Business. This has got to continue, because like with everything, you have to consistently embed that message that this is an audience, this is a business who's contributing towards the economy. And we are consistently having conversations about, this is the economy, this is the challenges we're facing, we need to tap into new markets. Well, this is a market that's right underneath the UK's nostrils, you know, and winning awards like this, of course, this accolade brings it to the surface. You know, it has an impact, and it's really important because there's so much value and worth. I've been doing this for over 20 years now. It's amazing just to see these Black-owned businesses. If I think about Linda, the one who has the hair company, there's the shampoo.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. And to see that, I think they went through, didn't they? Mm-hmm. And just to see that actually on television, or see that, or knowing that you know some of the people, and you actually see the work, it's like a pinch your skin moment, you know. And so that legacy will forever live on, because it's already been on television. So it's to keep this consistent, keep the measurement tools in place, keep the conversations alive, empower communities, give them a voice, give them a platform, and give them the skills. And if you give them all of that, then not only is it going to be good for them it's actually going to be good for the environment and it's going to be good for the economy. And they're tick, tick, tick as far as I'm concerned. So we have to keep this going.
Incredible. And Lily, you mentioned there clearly the crowning of this work was to win one of the most prestigious MRS awards in the Liz Nelson Grand Prix. Yeah. Talk to me about that. What does that mean to you guys to have an incredible piece of work, but then that seal of approval?
Well, Catherine and I were nearly in tears, literally. We
were in shock. We were in shock. Yeah,
Yeah.
because it gets to the end of the awards and we're kind of just chatting away. And like, we knew that this research was having massive social impact. Like, we knew that it was feeding into something much bigger than what it was originally conceived as. And so inside of our hearts, we were settled with that. So hearing the project get called out was like incredible. It just gives that level of industry validation. And so we know it, and everybody that's worked on the project knows it, and they know the value of the insights, but it just takes it that step further. Now the whole industry knows the value of the insights.
And particularly the two of you working in larger organizations, do you feel it really sort of amplified it with inside the organizations you work in to shine a light on this great work?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, for us at Clear Channel, it absolutely fueled the longevity of the initiative that we've got in place in partnership with Jammy, which is an online kind of marketplace for Black-owned businesses. And just to say on that, the initiatives that we run, and I know for Channel 4 as well, we don't run them in silo. We were not the experts on Black-owned businesses, and it was so important for us to bring in partners like Jammy and Lloyd's that could really help fuel the understanding, get the authenticity, understand the lived experience, and that was even before we had the data behind us to really understand kind of what was going on for these organisations. So I mean, for us it was complete validation. It's fantastic, and we've been shortlisted for a couple of bits and pieces now. So for this piece of research, so we are absolutely chuffed.
Yeah, it's very, very clear to see why you have, and I can see why the judges made the decision they did. Guys, to wrap things up, I like to change speed a little bit, and I'm really passionate about the development of careers in market research and getting more great talent into this industry. Now, what I normally ask people is, what's your advice? Clearly, watching this podcast and feeling the energy and the impact that you can have in market research. But just an open question to all of you. If you were giving some advice of someone thinking about joining market research or in the early years of their career, what bits of advice, what makes a great market research career and a rounded one at that?
I've been in market research for a little while now, but I wasn't always doing this sort of purpose-led research. And I think during the pandemic, I kind of realised I want to be doing a bit more. Like, I like research, I love it, but I want to be creating impact. And so when I came to Channel 4, in my interview, I literally said, if there's anything diversity related, like, put me, if I can have a small drop of influence in that space, my career's made. And I think my advice is there's an element of creating your own career. So you go into a job and it's got a very specific job spec, and you think you know what you're going in for, and it's all kind of set in stone. But the more you can kind of push your passion through and show senior stakeholders, I care about this. Do you think our clients would care? Do you think the more you can kind of push through those things that you care about, the more it's going to become just a natural part of your career and your role. So that would be my advice. If there's something that you're passionate about, speak about it, say it. If it might not be part of your day-to-day, do a little, bit of extra work just to keep that passion alive in yourself.
And do you find when you bring that passion and curiosity to even in a large organisation like Channel 4, it's received well and people are willing to back it?
Yes. I think it is. I think I'm very lucky to work at Channel 4. So I chose a place where I knew they would be open to that sort of conversation, and it may not be like that everywhere. But I think if you have a passion, it's your livelihood. It's what you have to wake up and do every day. So there has to be some element of that. So look for that. When you're looking at companies to apply for, look at what sort of work they do, what projects do they create, what could you be involved in that may not necessarily be part of what you're applying for, but down the line, how can you open those conversations and get involved in that real impactful social work?
Fantastic. Any other thoughts and tips?
I mean, that was amazing,
Yeah.
really. So I feel like, Kat just sort of nailed it all. I mean, I guess like just sort of build on two things. Like, I think one thing is like, we're super aware that actually as an industry, there's like a chronic lack of diversity in the industry. And actually we're doing all we can to really try and change that from the sort of bottom up, really. So making sure that any intern programs, any kind of junior research roles, that we have like a huge amount of positive discrimination in place to try and change the dynamic around ethnicity within the industry, because historically I think it's been a real problem, and I think it's just not acceptable, and so we're just trying to kind of grow the talent base in that level. So I just thought I wanted to call that out, given the project we're talking about right now, because I think it is a real issue. But in terms of young people coming into the industry, I think as Kat just says, it's like I think there's so much opportunity, and we're at a time where the ability to learn about culture, learn about society through social media, through the tools that anyone can access on their phone, is kind of unparalleled, really. And I think we really look for people who are trying to kind of capture their thoughts and capture ideas about the world, even if they hadn't had the opportunities to have business opportunities or experience, maybe just trying to find ways to show that, you have a point of view. And, we're at a time when people can self-publish more than ever before. And so would just encourage people to get out there and kind of learn things and try and kind of have a point of view in the world. And that's what I think we're looking for, really.
Yeah, fantastic. No, I think sounds like curiosity and following your passion is exactly what to do. Lydia?
What I'd like to add is that my journey into the world of research was quite wasn't the traditional route, essentially. And I think going to your points of that you both say, Saul and Katja, and also Caroline, is curiosity. I saw a problem of I'm not the only one that saw this problem, but over 20-something years ago, walked into a department store, and I will always tell this story. I went in there with one of my good friends. She was Spanish. She's Spanish, and she was able to have so much choice when it came to makeup. And when I inquired, look, what do you have? Which brands would you recommend for me? The shop assistant said, I apologise, but we only provide products for normal skin tones. And I was just so taken aback. And I knew at that point I needed to do something about it, but I didn't know quite what that would be. But throughout my career of seeing similar patterns, because I always follow patterns, maybe not enough representation in the boardroom, CEO level, 98% or 97% of CEOs are from white backgrounds. So that when it comes to shaping ideas, that it actually must come from the top. Of course, you will have people at entry level, but it will be listened to and it'll be backed more when you have someone at a senior level, middle leadership level, putting that point across. So some of the challenges that I faced, I wasn't looking like the regular person to be involved in a world of research. So I just feel that when I get hit with challenges that mean so much to me, I look for people that can support me in changing this. And so I know some of the conversations around the Black Pound report, some people had question marks. Are these figures actually real? Do people really spend £2.3 billion a year on health and beauty? Yes, they do. The stats talk for themselves. But I always wanted and know the power of awards. And that recognition, whether we call it validation or recognition, the industry loves recognition. You cannot get away from it. That's why these awards are so powerful. So we're pushing for years and years and years and years and years for this type of diverse research to have that impact. If I can do it, and I haven't come in through the traditional background of research, and with overcoming the obstacles that I had to face, with people that have supported me and come into partnership by backing the Black Pound report, backing the Black Owned Business report, then if you're at university and you're thinking, can I tap into the world of research? Can I get involved in marketing? Yes, you can. If you're more experienced in years and you want to navigate a different direction, can you do it? You can indeed. And that's what I want to say, that you don't have to come from a traditional background to impact the world of research, because you can partner with others. And learning and education is something that's consistent and must always happen. And if you apply that, you can get involved in this industry. That's what I would say.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Lydia. And thank you all of you. It's incredible to hear about market research having this huge impact. And it feels like this is just the beginning for this piece of work. And I really look forward to seeing where it gets to in the future. Thank you very much.
Thank you.